A crazy doctor wrestles a vampire just to get a mask on him for treatment. Last time, the director brought a doctor to treat a vampire. At first, he didn't believe it. He thought he heard wrong. The director actually called him a vampire, but when the doctor saw the vampire's fangs, he froze in terror. He backed away in panic, screaming, "Don't come close," frantically swinging his medical key. "Get away from me, you monster. I'm a vegetarian. I don't taste good at all." The doctor trembled, begging for his life. The vampire was speechless watching this. Without those chains, your drama queen would be dead already. When the doctor saw the vampire wasn't moving, he peeked and realized he couldn't move. The doctor finally relaxed. But then the vampire started cursing at the doctor. "You looked tough before, but you're actually an idiot." The doctor ignored the vampire. He got up and walked to the cell door. He tried with all his might, but couldn't open it, even though no one was watching. Someone would check on progress soon. The doctor didn't want to think about the consequences of not finishing the job. He had no choice but to treat that guy. With one glance, the doctor could tell the vampire was badly injured, besides a broken left ankle. The worst was the bleeding abdomen. Without immediate stitching, that guy would definitely die. He didn't understand why he couldn't heal, but now he had to treat this dead bat like a human. But when the doctor glanced again, he was afraid of getting bitten. So he planned to find some tape to seal his mouth, but then he found something even better. The doctor wasn't worried anymore. He told the vampire to be good. "Relax, it won't hurt at all. Once it's on your mouth, it'll lock instantly." The doctor rushed forward, trying to catch the vampire off guard. But because he was too excited, he couldn't get it fastened. Instead, he pulled off the bandage in the vampire's mouth. Great. Now the only thing covering his mouth was gone. The doctor panicked and actually climbed on top of the vampire. The vampire yelled he didn't need treatment, but the doctor said no, he needs it, or he'd be in danger. But the vampire said, "Who cares about that?" Then the doctor slipped and touched something he shouldn't have. Now it was his business. Just because the vampire called the doctor a duck, the doctor lost it on him. Last time, the doctor's hand slipped and touched something, which really pissed off the vampire. He kicked the doctor, cursing the doctor as a dumb side duck. Stupid and annoying. Better stay put, or he'd kick his duck head off. But the doctor got worked up, muttering, "I'm not a seduck." He got right in the vampire's face and yelled, "I've been a doctor for 6 years. Everyone I've treated has thanked me. Why do you smelly bat, call me a seduck? From colds to cancer, from cuts to missing limbs. I've seen every kind of patient." The vampire saw the doctor going crazy and realized the danger, wanting to get away. But the next second, the doctor shoved his hand into his body. The vampire watched his own blood spurting, then felt excruciating pain. He struggled, yelling, "What are you doing, you crazy duck?" But the doctor asked mockingly, "Hurts, doesn't it? Without me, you just die like this." While saying this, he twisted his hand inside the vampire's body. Only when the vampire had no strength to fight back did he pull his hand out. Then he easily put the mask on the vampire. Once it was fastened, the vampire realized he was done for. The doctor was pleased with his clever move. Now he could finally do the surgery in peace. The only regret was no anesthesia. The vampire realized the doctor was insane, putting his hand into his wound. He had to get away from him as soon as possible. But the doctor suddenly got close. "If you move again, I'll just break your right foot. It hurts now, but once you're healed, you'll thank me. Even though you're a smelly bat, we're all equal when it comes to suffering." Scene change. The director coughed up blood, asking a servant to get him medicine. The servant tried to warn him not to take too much, but the director snapped. "Who does he think he is?" A subordinate asked, "Is it really okay to just watch them? Your condition seems to be getting worse." The director replied he was fine for now. It'd be a waste to let him die. They're in the same situation, so they should open up easier. Getting information is more useful than anything. The subordinate asked, "If he can't be cured, will you really kill him?" The director laughed. "I don't need useless things. Only people with value can survive." The doctor finally finished stitching the vampire's wound. Afterward, he unconsciously stroked the vampire's forehead. Guess what the doctor's thinking? Vampires need the bathroom too. The doctor helps him with his pants. Last time, the doctor stitched up the vampire's wound. Since it took so much energy, the doctor fell asleep right after. But he didn't sleep long. He kept hearing clanging sounds. As the noise got louder, the doctor suddenly woke up, yelling, "Why are you making noise when you're not sleeping?" Then started trembling again. He looked over and saw the vampire with chains he had wrongly accused. Looking at him, he probably couldn't do anything. Right now, he just needed the bathroom. The doctor complained, "Why didn't he say so? Making all that noise, my perfect stitches tore again." The vampire told the doctor to go away, but the doctor told the vampire to be good. He can't even stand, but still acts tough. Even though he's a cold-blooded bear, his body temperature is like a human's, and he gets embarrassed like humans too. The doctor marveled at how amazing the world is. He'd been captured for a week. The vampire was getting more docile, though his wound was slowly healing. For some reason, he refused to take medicine. His strength wasn't great as legends say, and he had no charm powers. All this made the doctor think he was like any normal person. The doctor truly saw the vampire as his patient, taking care of all his needs. But the vampire didn't watch where he was walking, and accidentally stepped on a tray. He crashed to the ground. The doctor's head was ringing from the pain, complaining. What was the vampire doing? The broth soaked into the bandages. "You wouldn't open your mouth when I fed you. Feel, but I'm treating you, not babysitting. Now I have to clean you up and disinfect again." But when the doctor saw the vampire's pitiful state, he softened and stopped blaming him. "Anyway, when the guard comes, I'll get what I need. Until I get back, please just be good and stay still." The doctor left with the food. The vampire seemed obedient, but it was all an act. As soon as the doctor left, he muttered he's a stupid duck. He really thinks I fell by accident. The risk was worth taking. No way. The vampire wants to take out his hubby. The vampire was afraid the doctor would snap, so he had no choice but to kill him and drink his blood. Last time, the vampire deliberately fell to steal a scalpel, planning to push the doctor against the wall and stab him during a bathroom trip. If successful, he could drink fresh blood. Though he didn't know the doctor's name yet, the vampire had no other choice to survive. As soon as someone noticed something wrong and opened the door, he could escape. Whatever was happening outside, the moment the chains loosened, he'd act. Soon the doctor returned with supplies. The vampire thought, this dumb Psyduck probably won't notice a scalpel is missing. As the doctor was about to check the medical kit, the vampire could only hope he was blind. But suddenly the doctor stopped. No idea why he froze. The vampire got more nervous. Just then the doctor looked at the vampire, scaring the vampire. Did he find out? His heart was pounding. The doctor was confused. When did he become so scary? I was a bit rough last time, but I'm actually a good person. I'm usually very kind, so you don't need to be so afraid, and I have no reason to hurt you. I just hope you cooperate with treatment. Don't refuse medicine because you don't like it, and don't hurt your wrist trying to use the bathroom. You just need to wake me up. The doctor realized he hadn't introduced himself, then pointed at himself and told the vampire his name is John. But the vampire said stubbornly he didn't ask. But the doctor said it doesn't matter. Once I get you healed, I can leave here. The vampire was exasperated. You dummy, don't you know I'll be tortured again then? But the doctor told the vampire not to worry. I don't know why you were brought here, but either way, you're my patient. I'll get you healed as fast as I can. The vampire didn't care why the doctor said this. He was just focused on hiding the scalpel. The doctor stuffed cotton into the vampire's shackles, so he wouldn't get hurt. After the protection, the doctor planned to take the vampire to the bathroom to wash up. He unlocked some chains, urging the vampire to hurry, but the vampire hesitated. The opportunity came sooner than expected. Though he seems kind now, who knows when he'll snap again. This was a rare chance. He had to strike fast and take him out. The doctor fantasized about the vampire biting him. The vampire saw him spacing out and urged him on. Last time, the doctor stopped the vampire's nosebleed, holding the vampire lost in thought. After that, the doctor kept his word, treating him like his patient with care. Though recovery was slow, he looked much better than before. It seems like that little bit of blood really worked. But lately the doctor had another problem. Ever since then, he'd been really conscious of the vampire. Unluckily, the vampire caught him staring this time. Suddenly, the vampire's mouth curved up. Then he reached out and pulled the doctor close. I noticed your weird looks a long time ago. Are you fantasizing about me? The doctor shyly said no, thinking why so sudden. But the vampire said pretending was useless. The body is the most honest thing. Don't be shy. I'll service you like I did when I drank your blood. Suddenly, the doctor snapped out of it. He heard the vampire's voice yelling in pain. That was all the doctor's fantasy. He was actually wrapping the vampire's foot. The doctor quickly apologized, saying he'd redo it right away. Watching the doctor's weird behavior, the vampire was a bit confused. Why does the Psyduck keep spacing out lately? His face gets really red. He stutters when he talks, and even offers his neck to me, letting me drink his blood. The vampire pondered the problem while drinking, concluding the doctor had mental issues. Little did he know the doctor was secretly watching him. The doctor felt he'd had enough, and pushed the vampire away. But the vampire's mouth movements made the doctor shudder. So he quickly pushed the vampire far away. That strange feeling came again. He couldn't lose control like this. The doctor asked if the vampire had enough. Without waiting for an answer, he bolted. Guess what the vampire's thinking? He'd do anything the vampire wanted, because he needed the doctor to escape the cell. Last time the doctor kept fantasizing about the vampire, leaving the vampire confused. In the dim cell, the doctor was writing in his diary. He couldn't remember how long he'd been here, or how much longer he'd stay. A cramped, sealed space would make anyone have strange thoughts. Though the doctor wanted to heal the vampire quickly, no matter how hard he tried, he couldn't fully cure him. Watching the vampire toss and turn on the cold floor, the doctor wondered if it was because he had no bed. Just then the vampire had his back to the doctor. The doctor looked at the vampire's chained hands, remembering the wild scenes from his daydreams. Strange. Why has my body been out of control since that happened? The doctor stared at the vampire's back, doing something shameful. Little did he know the vampire noticed his movements. But the vampire didn't call him out. The next day, when the doctor fed the vampire, no matter how much the doctor pleaded, the vampire refused to eat. He just stared at the doctor. The doctor had no choice. He knew what the vampire wanted. The doctor resignedly unbuttoned his shirt, preparing to let the vampire truly feed. He couldn't remember when this started. Maybe 3 days ago, but that wasn't right. Thinking back, it started after the nosebleed. The vampire was also confused lately, because every night the doctor made little moves. But the vampire wasn't sure because of him. So the vampire decided to do an experiment. This time after drinking blood, he licked with saliva. Without surprise, the doctor started acting strict. The vampire was a bit shocked. When the doctor noticed, he got embarrassed, frantically trying to explain. But the vampire wouldn't listen. Clearly, this Psyduck had feelings for him. Maybe he could use this to escape, as long as he could leave this place. The vampire would do anything. The doctor confessed to the vampire. Just because the vampire. Last time we said the vampire wanted to leave. He'd do anything. So he started actively approaching the doctor. The doctor asked him why he was doing this. The vampire said, "Isn't seducing humans my job? But I didn't expect you, Psyduck, to finish with just one kiss. The vampire's words weren't that harmful, but extremely insulting. The doctor leaned in and counterattacked the vampire. Since you put it that way, I won't hold back. The vampire didn't expect the Psyduck's mood to change so fast. The doctor glanced at the vampire and started countertoning. The vampire's face turned red, speechless. He could only let the doctor decide. Just like that, they deepened their relationship. The doctor asked the vampire why he called him Psyduck. He just turned 28 this year. The vampire didn't bother explaining. So how'd you end up here at 28? You don't look like a bad guy. The doctor laughed awkwardly. Everyone has their secret. I just wanted to do more research. Actually, I'm a famous doctor. However, this brought back bad memories for the vampire. The doctor apologized for his first mood swing. But we're so close now. Won't you tell me your name? The vampire didn't refuse. Call me Jess. The doctor asked the vampire why he was here. The vampire said it's his own fault for being careless. But my friends should be looking for me. Did you guys really do all those murder cases? Is human blood really your main food? The vampire looked at the curious doctor. He chuckled. Didn't you experience it yourself? Or are you afraid I'll tear you apart and eat you? But the doctor explained he was just curious about the vampire's digestive organs. The vampire didn't want to argue with the doctor. Actually, he didn't like drinking blood. Thinking about only surviving on blood made him feel humiliated. And having to trick humans to fill his stomach. You probably find such disgusting behavior unbearable too. Unexpectedly, the doctor pushed the vampire down. I won't let you call yourself disgusting. I love watching you drink blood. The vampire smiled dangerous. Is your love like a tornado? However, the doctor's eyes were firm. It's because you have this mysterious beauty. Every time I see your eyes turn red, I get this rush. This is my first time feeling this way. Do you meet many people like me? No. The vampire answered simply. It's my first time meeting a Psyduck like you. The doctor happily hugged the vampire. But the vampire was thinking about the doctor's words about beauty. Wonder if he'd still say that seeing me got it. But none of it matters anymore. Once I leave this place, we'll never see each other again. The vampire and doctor were playing around. Almost lost his innocence. Last time the doctor praised the vampire's beauty. The vampire thought they'd never meet again. After that, under the doctor's care, his body gradually recovered. The wound was completely invisible. Even the bones inside were set perfectly. Seems the doctor wasn't lying before. The vampire could hop around. The doctor quickly stopped him. You still need rest. But the vampire stumbled. They both tumbled down. Seeing the vampire's cute look, the doctor couldn't help but laugh. So the vampire said angrily, don't laugh. The doctor couldn't stop. His mouth was cramping. Then the vampire noticed his pants were wet. The doctor also noticed his condition. The vampire told the doctor to stop staring. Clean him up quick. The next second the vampire was shocked. The doctor called the vampire's name. The vampire understood what this meant. After all, since that day, the doctor always made the vampire do strange things. So you wanted to touch and understand everything about the vampire. Now only that last sacred ground remained. But someone knocked on the cell door. The doctor had to say goodbye to the vampire, leaving the vampire speechless and staring. The vampire luckily escaped disaster. Complained the doctor was innocent, but thorough in his work. But anyway, his plan was going smoother than expected. The doctor went to the supply room with the guard every day. He definitely knew the cell structure better than me. Just use him to subdue the guard, then have him show me a way to escape. These chains weren't a problem. The key was whether the doctor would cooperate. Meanwhile, the doctor followed the guard to a secret room. The scene shocked the doctor. A withered human appeared before the doctor, asking the doctor how the vampire's recovery was. The vampire would have all 5 limbs cut off. The doctor wanted to run away with him. Last time the director asked the doctor about the vampire's recovery. The doctor knew the vampire's time was running out. He was thinking all the way. Looking at the lake outside, he seemed to have an idea. Back in the cell, he wanted to sleep. He kept struggling, like someone was choking his fate. Suddenly, the doctor woke up, like he just escaped death. The doctor turned to the vampire, then shook Jess awake. The vampire asked the doctor what's wrong. Did you have a nightmare? The doctor replied cutely, and asked the vampire to hold hands. Listening to the vampire's strong heartbeat, the doctor gradually calmed down. The vampire asked what the doctor dreamed. The doctor said he couldn't remember, but was afraid no one would need him. The vampire told the doctor not to overthink. Can I survive without you now? The doctor couldn't believe it. Really? The vampire said absolutely. The doctor was instantly happy, imagining living with the vampire in the future. The vampire's eyes narrowed, but he didn't answer. The doctor suddenly mentioned seeing the director today. The vampire's eyes shot open, instantly alert, with no sleep. The doctor said yes. He looks really bad. Your torture time is coming up. They plan to cut off your 5 limbs for medicine, then sew up the ends. As long as I can keep you alive, they'll let me leave. Hearing the doctor's description, the vampire was truly scared. Who knew who the real vampire was? Suddenly, the doctor grabbed the vampire. I need Jess's complete cooperation. But the vampire hesitated. The doctor pleaded sincerely again. Trust me, just wait until tomorrow. I can get you out of here. The vampire pulled out his big wings. The doctor helped him escape from the cell. Last time the doctor said he'd take the vampire away, but the vampire couldn't believe it. Asking what the doctor meant, the doctor said exactly what I said. You want to be cut into a human stick and wait to die. The vampire, of course, wanted to escape. The doctor's idea as nice, but it's not that easy to escape, unless you have some trick. The doctor saw the vampire was cautious, so he told him his plan. But the vampire was confused. The doctor had a way all along. Why hasn't he left yet? The doctor explained he liked the vampire too much, so he wanted to stay with him. The vampire got embarrassed. What are you saying? But there's no other option now. Might as well do what you say. So the doctor detailed the escape route to the vampire. The key problem was getting to land. But the vampire said that's no problem. Suddenly pulled out his big wings. I'll just fly you there. The doctor was seeing them for like a curious kid touching everywhere. Now everything was ready, just waiting for the right moment. When the guard checked tomorrow, they'd execute the plan. By the time they reached the end of the vent, it'd be sunset. The next day the guard came to check. Found both the doctor and vampire were gone, frantically about to open the door. Not knowing the doctor and vampire were hiding behind it. As soon as the guard's head went in, a sheet covered him. Then came the couple's double beatdown. Soon the doctor and vampire walked out. They tiptoed along. Looking at the spiral stairs, the vampire was shocked, especially by the two big bird cages. The vampire was even more. Suddenly the doctor called the vampire over. He rattled around, quickly opening a vent. Climbing out here would lead to the waterway outside. But the vampire said the doctor was crazy. How am I supposed to climb like this? The doctor told the vampire not to worry. I have the key. This made the vampire's brain hurt. When did you get it from the guard? But the doctor said, no, I've had it from the start. The vampire was shocked. Was I the Sadok all along? The vampire left the doctor and fled. Turns out it was all the doctor's clever plan. The doctor was actually the director's son. Can't imagine how terrible the vampire's fate will be. Last time the vampire felt betrayed. Wanted the doctor to explain, but the doctor rushed him to go. They crawled into the vent. Soon, reached the waterway. The doctor called Jess to come up. The breeze here feels great. Success was right there. The doctor pulled the vampire along running, asking what the vampire wanted to do after getting out. If he didn't mind, they could live together. We'll make money together. We'll have fun together. Forget this hellhole completely. But the vampire asked about the key, hoping the doctor would give him a good explanation. But before the doctor could answer, a beam of light hit him. It was a patrolling guard. Seeing them, he panicked and yelled their escape easier. Pressed the alarm, then lunged at the doctor. The doctor quickly pushed the vampire away. The vampire looked like a scared kid. The guard yelled for the rats to surrender. The doctor threw the gun to the vampire. Jess, grab him quick. Then shoot him twice. Oh, when people come, we can't escape. The vampire was shaking all over. Barely managed to aim. But just as he was about to shoot, he suddenly remembered the doctor's key. Ignoring the doctor being beaten, the vampire flew away alone. The doctor yelled, Jess, where are you going alone? Didn't we agree to leave together? But the vampire never looked back, leaving the doctor surrounded by guards. He flew out of sight, praising himself for doing well. Humans and vampires can't coexist. Looking at the exit right ahead, the vampire was already imagining his future life. Meanwhile, the doctor wasn't arrested. Just one look at the guard, and the guard obediently squatted to light his cigarette. Though the plan went a bit off track, he was more scared than expected. The arrogant guard was constantly apologizing. It's my fault for not knowing you're the director's son. The doctor blamed the guards for ruining the plan, messing up the chance to find the vampire hideout, and seeing how fast the vampire ran. Seems he never planned to take me. The doctor told the guards to block here. He had to take a shortcut. He knew Jess couldn't escape. After all, he's a and outside the cave entrance was the vampire finally realized he'd been tricked from the start. Suddenly, footsteps echoed closer. The doctor appeared out of nowhere, walking toward him. Well, hello, Jess. Didn't think we'd meet again so soon. The knave vampire got captured again. The doctor's brother made his grand entrance. Who knows what sparks will fly between the three. Last time the doctor turned around and came before the vampire. Well, hello, Jess. We meet again so soon. The vampire was shocked to see the doctor here. But the doctor didn't answer right away. Instead, he crouched down to check if the vampire was hurt. The vampire's little brain clearly wasn't cutting it. He thought he was dreaming. But he didn't doubt the doctor. He kept asking how the doctor shook off the guards. There were 15 of them. Did you hide your strength too, John? The doctor couldn't help but laugh. You're even more innocent than I imagined. Man, this guilt is killing me. Jess, do you still believe I'm a slave here? The vampire was stunned. He told the doctor to explain what he meant. The doctor mocked him for being so clueless. Look closely at what's written here, researcher. But the vampire had no idea what a researcher did. The doctor turned his back to the vampire. Researchers use slaves as guinea pigs for experiments. They try to cure certain incurable diseases. And they just happened to find you, Jess. So I pretended to be a slave to get close to you. How was it? Pretty good acting, right? The vampire finally understood it was all a lie. And he said we'd go out and live together. But the doctor, after a brief silence, said it wasn't all fake. Actually, I really hate this island. Deceiving you is just insurance. How else could I handle it if you abandoned me, Jess? The vampire felt guilty. He stammered, not knowing how to defend himself. But the doctor told him not to feel guilty or apologize. I've changed my mind now anyway. Seeing himself captured again, the vampire asked the doctor what he was going to do to him. Why are you doing this? But the doctor didn't answer. He just ordered the guards to take him to that room. The vampire knew nothing good awaited him. He desperately shouted for John to stop. No. But the guards weren't having it. They knocked him out cold. And the doctor glanced over, clearly reluctant. The guard then asked the doctor what to do next. The doctor said he needed to find his father first. The doctor expected to get hit again when he walked in. But instead a woman appeared before him. The doctor side could have given him a heads up. Isaac, brother, long time no see. How have you been lately? Why do you always lack awareness? The doctor told Isaac to cut the crap. Where's father? Isaac said father went to sleep. The way he spun his wheelchair looks strange. So how's your research going, brother? Hope you're not wasting the budget. Though you know there's not much time left. But try not to stress too much. Because I never had any hope in you anyway. After all, what kind of clueless fool I can do? Isaac mocked the doctor, then walked off. Meanwhile, the vampire's limbs were already tied up. His eyes and mouth were also covered with cloth. Then the doctor who'd visited his father walked in. Oh, Jess, sorry to keep you waiting. Now let's have a nice long talk. The doctor studied the vampire 100 times. Who knew the vampire got used by the doctor for nothing? Last time the vampire invited the doctor to study him. The doctor didn't hold back and got to work. Though he praised how beautiful the vampire was. The vampire was in terrible pain. The doctor while researching seemed like a different person. Not the gentle John he knew. But he was the one who made the doctor cruel. Suddenly the vampire passed out. If only all this was a dream. The vampire always hated war. He just wanted to eat and drink his whole life. His girlfriend told him to just get through this. Then, they could get married. From then on they'd be real family. No matter what happens, I'll always stand by your side. Then the vampire woke up. Because he needed to pee. But his throat suddenly started hurting. It reminded him of the doctor's research. The vampire trembled all over. Just then, the doctor came out from his shower. Seeing him awake, he carried him to the tub. The vampire didn't know why he had that dream. After all, it's been over 100 years. Was it because he felt so anxious? So he asked what comes next. But the doctor asked him what he meant. The vampire replied, getting out of here, of course. Didn't you promise we'd leave together if I gave you what you wanted? But the doctor said he didn't remember saying that. I clearly said I don't want anything. And Jess was the one who offered to let me study him. The vampire panicked. He yelled, asking what the doctor meant. He hoped the doctor would think it over. You said you wanted to get out in life. If you cooperate with me, we'll make our move tonight. But the vampire wasn't paying attention for a second. He knocked over the doctor's lab equipment, just as he wanted to clean it up himself. The doctor helped the vampire up and told him not to rush. Are you only cooperating with research because you want to leave Jess? That really hurts my feelings. But don't worry. I really don't plan to stay here forever. Once I finish what I'm working on, I'll consider taking you with me. But while I'm gone, you'll need to wear this. Because there are lots of dangerous things in the lab. Just stay put for a bit. I'll take it off as soon as I get back. Why does the vampire have dark circles? Because the doctor has long talks every night. But last time, the doctor told the vampire to wait for him. Then he went to the observation room and ordered his staff to inject the pathogens one by one. Make the test subjects show the same symptoms as the director, but the actual treatment results were the same. The doctor told them to prepare 50 more for new research. Because the vampire won't talk even under torture. Now besides increasing test subjects, there's no other way. After all, they really don't have much time left. The doctor's brother Isaac returned to the tavern he runs. Checking the books, the debt had reached 12 million. He really shouldn't have taken this damn tavern. Oliver reminded him it's not his yet. Isaac angrily kept kicking him. All these assets will be mine eventually. John already makes me angry enough. The old man dared to annoy me too. Oliver told Isaac not to be too harsh on the doctor. He's researching hard for you and Mr. Phillip. But Isaac disagreed. He's just a rat eating away at the fortune. Suddenly Isaac remembered the doctor clearly mentioned the vampire. He guessed the real reason for the detention center riot. So he ordered Oliver to go back to the detention center and make sure the director and John don't find out. And when Oliver saw how Isaac does business, he finally understood the reason for the monthly deficit. Little did he know the woman before him was Pandora, the vampire's companion. Pandora was frustrated about not finding Jess. But Gabriel beside her kept saying he was starving. And Dora was so stressed she pulled her hair. Just then the brother came to hit on her, hoping to spend a wonderful night with him. Pandora was desperate for a lead, so she agreed to meet the brother. The brother bragged his family owned an island, a place where they keep slaves. This made Pandora think of missing Jess. She asked the brother to take him to the island for a date next time. Jess was having a really rough time. Every day he had to cooperate with the doctor's research. He didn't even know how long he'd been locked in the lab. The doctor's comings and goings were irregular. Bedtime talks became routine. The vampire feared the doctor wouldn't take him away. He had no choice anymore. By watching the doctor's satisfied smile every time, still couldn't ease the vampire's doubts. Can he really trust this guy whose mood changes so drastically? If he keeps holding me tight, if he ends up using me as a test subject, if he stops needing me and never comes back, then I'd be trapped here forever. The more the vampire thought, the more anxious he became. The vampire even developed dark circles. The doctor searched everywhere before finding the vampire. Jess, why didn't you come out to greet me today? I thought you abandoned me and ran away again. The doctor one more. The vampire said fine, just once. Last time, the vampire eyed the liquor, and the doctor was still doing research. The main problem now is with Jess. His mental state has been terrible lately, but the doctor's not a psychiatrist. The vampire won't take meds, and the doctor stumped on how to cheer him up. Before he knew it, it was really late. The doctor rushed back to the lab. He found the vampire slumped over the table. He thought he'd fallen asleep. Turns out he just had too much to drink. But the vampire said it wasn't enough. He told the doctor to bring out something else, so they could have a few more drinks together. The doctor was happy to oblige. He tried with all his might. The vampire asked the doctor what he was doing. The doctor said he didn't know how to use a corkscrew. The vampire grabbed the doctor's hand. Put this in the cork and twist. See, easy to open, right? The doctor was like, wow, so cool. The vampire looked so disgusted. Jess acts like an adult. Why don't you tell me how old you are? The vampire said he didn't remember. After 100, he stopped counting. The doctor was shocked. Are your joints okay? The vampire rolled his eyes. Of course they're fine. I used to be a soldier. The doctor tapped the vampire's fingers. So 100 years ago you were human too. The vampire didn't answer. That's all for my story. Time to tell yours. Like what kind of hospital you ran before? Actually, I used to run a children's hospital. The vampire snorted. That's like a kid treating kids. The doctor instantly blushed. The kids really liked me. The vampire snapshot. Just like me. You've got that face kids love. The doctor took it as a compliment. But Jess just has sharp eyes. If you wore these glasses, he'd look so elegant and handsome. The doctor's heart skipped a beat. Maybe it was the alcohol. The doctor felt the vampire was even more tempting. He suddenly demanded to know if he'd had a girlfriend. The vampire told the doctor to stop talking. The doctor went on about how the vampire was his first love. So he must take responsibility for taking his innocence. And starting tomorrow, he'll be even busier. So can we do one more research session? The vampire hesitated but didn't refuse. Just once. You said once. The doctor went all in with the poker. Ivor's companions landed on the island to save them. Last time the doctor wanted to do one more research session. The vampire figured once was no big deal and agreed. But this time the doctor's research was really twisted. He used a hot poker to test the vampire's pain threshold. Said something about how the vampire should be used to it by now. But it nearly killed the vampire. The doctor finally decided to cut him some slack. But he still had to cooperate with other research to satisfaction. After the research, both should have rested well. But the vampire just couldn't fall asleep. The doctor asked if the vampire felt uncomfortable anywhere. I felt relieved today not seeing you scratch yourself. You don't know how worried I was when I first saw you. Even the tiniest bit is fine. If you feel anything strange, you must tell me. But the vampire didn't answer the doctor's question. He just suddenly said, what if he fell asleep? The doctor was confused. He told the vampire to explain clearly. The vampire told the doctor he doesn't like being alone. Every time I fall asleep, you leave. And I don't know when you'll come back. I know saying this won't change anything. But after you leave, I feel anxious. And this anxiety only goes away when I see your face. I'm scared of myself starting to depend on you. What are you really thinking? If you don't actually want me or you're just using me, then why are you keeping me in this dark place? But before the doctor could answer, anxious shouts from Master John came from outside. The doctor clearly said not to call him early. He demanded to know what was so important. The subordinate nervously said the doctor needed to come out, because Master Philip's condition wasn't right. Meanwhile, on the other side, a carriage was speeding along. Gabriel complained he never wanted to take a boat. That guy would definitely look at him with that expression. Pandora said she couldn't leave him alone, and maybe after going, he'd actually like it. Gabriel asked Pandora what she meant. Pandora explained you don't need a pass there. You can eat at the buffet without worry. Soon the carriage stopped. Isaac politely invited Pandora to step down. Before them was the boat to the prison island. The vampire felt insecure. The brothers sneaking in.